I let my neighbor borrow my Snowblower during a storm. The next day, I found it sold online and my name blasted on the HOA page as a freeloader. When I knocked, she said, "Maybe don't lend what you can't afford to lose." So I printed the receipt and sent it to
I live in Des Moines, Iowa.
It snows hard here, especially in February. When the forecast says blizzard, people take it seriously. You cancel your plans, charge everything, and make sure your snowblower isn't going to crap out on you mid-driveway. So, that morning I was out early. My driveway is long and steep, so I always try to clear it before the ice settles. My snowblower's not fancy, but it works. I was about halfway done when my neighbor Kayla came outside. She was bundled up, looked cold, and had this frustrated look on her face. "Hey, Mike," she called out, walking up my drive. "Ours won't start. Think I could borrow yours? Just for a bit." Now, I didn't know her that well. She and her husband Jeff moved in about 9 months ago. We'd said hello a few times. She always seemed pleasant enough. So, yeah, I said sure. "Just bring it back when you're done," I told her. She smiled, said thanks a bunch, and walked it down the sidewalk to their place. And that was the last time I saw it in my garage. I figured I'd get it back that night or the next morning. But the next day, when I got up and checked the HOA Facebook page just out of habit, I saw something that made me stop mid-scroll. There it was. A photo of my snowblower. Same handle grip I duct taped last winter. Same faded sticker with my last name. The caption read, "Fixed up snowblower for sale." Some people think being a neighbor means dumping broken crap on you. Not anymore. And the comments? Typical freeloading behavior. Who does that during a storm? Glad someone's finally standing up for themselves. Every single one was talking about me. Even though no one used my name, everyone knew. That's how it is in these neighborhoods. Everyone talks. I sat there for a solid minute, rereading the post. Then I walked over. Kayla opened the door like she was expecting me. She didn't even act surprised. "That's my snowblower you posted," I said. She smirked. Actually smirked. "Maybe don't lend what you can't afford to lose."
I blinkte her.
"You're serious?" She leaned on the doorframe like this was all some joke. "It didn't even work when you gave it to us. Jeff spent all day fixing it. We figured we'd sell it, since clearly you didn't want it back.
You didn't ask.
You just took it." "Look," she said, shrugging. "You handed it over. You didn't say there was a deadline." I didn't say anything else. Just turned around and went back home. I could have yelled. I could have cursed her out. But that's not how I am. I think better when I'm calm. So I went down to the basement and dug out the folder where I keep receipts. Found the one for the snowblower. It was from 2 years ago. Home Depot, $679.99, with the serial number clearly listed. I took photos. I scanned it. I pulled up the HOA board emails and sent the whole package. Receipt, proof of ownership, screenshots of the listing, and her Facebook post. Then I waited. Within 4 hours, the listing was gone. But that's when things really got messy. That night, I got an email from the HOA president, Mrs. Finkel. Short and formal. "We've reviewed your documentation. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. We'll be discussing this in the next meeting." I didn't know what that meant exactly, but it sounded like something was brewing. 2 days later, I saw Jeff outside, shoveling their walkway. He didn't wave. He didn't even look at me. Just kept his head down, shoulders tight. I knew then that Kayla must have told him what I'd done. But what hit harder was what happened that weekend. I went to the grocery store Saturday morning. Wasn't even out of the car, yet when someone parked next to me, Sarah, another neighbor a few houses down. She rolled down her window and said, "So, is it true you tried to get Kayla kicked out over a snowblower?" I just looked at her. "What?" "That's what she's saying. That you're trying to sue her or get the HOA to fine them." I sent in proof it was mine. "That's it." She shook her head.
"People are talking, Mike."
She posted a whole thing yesterday. Said you've been harassing them since they moved in. I hadn't even spoken to them more than 3 times before that storm. When I got home, I checked the Facebook group again. Sure enough, There was a long post from Kayla, not directly naming me, but going on about how some people in this neighborhood can't stand new homeowners and try to use technicalities to bully young couples. Over 40 likes. A dozen supportive comments. One guy even said, "Let me know if you need legal help." I felt like I was losing my mind. I had proof. I had receipts. But somehow she was spinning this into me being the aggressor. So I went quiet for a few days. Didn't reply to anything. Didn't check the group. I figured the truth would settle eventually. But it didn't. The next week, I got a letter taped to my front door. It was from the HOA. A formal complaint had been filed against me for harassment and creating a hostile environment. I stood there on my porch, holding the letter, heart pounding. She was trying to flip it. Not only had she stolen my Snowblower and trashed my name online, now she was trying to get me in trouble with the HOA? I sat down and wrote a timeline. Everything. Dates, what I said, what she said, the day I loaned it, the day I saw the post, the screenshots, everything. Then I took it one step further. I checked online marketplaces. Craigslist. Facebook Marketplace. And after some digging, I found it, the listing. Same photo she posted, same price. She had listed it under Jeff's name. I saved the whole thing. Took screenshots. Then I did something I didn't really want to do. I filed a small claims case. I didn't ask for the full amount. I just asked for the cost of the Snowblower, $679.99, and made it clear in the filing that I had tried to resolve it privately. A week after that, I got another letter. This one from the HOA saying they were putting her complaint on hold pending legal proceedings. And just like that, her game paused. But she didn't back down. Next time I saw her, she smiled at me like we were friends. "Guess you really love that old machine, huh?" I didn't answer. She leaned in slightly. "Hope it's worth the trouble." That's when I realized she didn't care about the Snowblower. She cared about control. About being right. About not getting shown up by the boring neighbor across the street. So I started planning something else. I'm not the kind of person who likes drama. But I'm also not the kind of person who lets someone drag my name through the mud while pretending to be the victim. So I started digging. Not in a creepy way. Just paying attention. I noticed Jeff wasn't around much anymore. His van, the one with the delivery company logo on it, was gone most days, sometimes overnight. Meanwhile, Kayla was always home, always posting, always smiling in group photos and throwing shade in captions. I remembered something she said to me that first day. "Ours won't start." That line stuck with me. So I looked up their address on the county assessor's site. Saw when they bought the place, how much they paid. Then I checked the Facebook Marketplace listings under both their names. Turns out, this wasn't the first time they'd sold fixed equipment. There was a leaf blower listed under Jeff's name in September, a power washer in October, a hedge trimmer in November. All lightly used, all priced just under retail, all posted the day after a major storm or weather shift. That's when it clicked. They weren't just selling junk, they were collecting from neighbors, acting like they were doing repairs or helping out, then flipping things online for profit. I saved everything. Every listing. Every photo. Every date. Then I printed it all out and slid it into a plain folder. Next HOA meeting was 2 weeks away, and I planned to be there. But Kayla didn't wait. 3 days before the meeting, I came home to find my trash bins overturned. Not just tipped, emptied onto my driveway. Trash everywhere. Banana peels, meat packaging, junk mail, even an old razor I'd tossed last week. And spray painted on my garage door in black. Freeloader, that's when it got real. I called the police. Filed a report. Showed them the HOA complaint, the Facebook post, the history. Gave them the folder with the listings and explained everything. They took photos. Promised to look into it. But I knew nothing would happen fast. So I cleaned up the trash myself. Scrubbed the spray paint. And waited. The night of the HOA meeting, I showed up early. Sat near the front with my folder. About 20 other people came, Kayla and Jeff included. She looked right at me when she walked in.
Nos cham.
Like this was just another performance. When they got to community concerns, I raised my hand. Told them I had a statement. They let me speak. I laid it all out, calmly, clearly. The Snowblower, the Facebook post, the listings under their names, the pattern, the harassment, the vandalism. I passed around the folder with evidence. Every person in that room saw it. The room went dead quiet. Someone in the back said, "Wait, you sold my weed trimmer last fall?" Another voice. "Is that my ladder in that photo?" People started murmuring. Some stood up. Jeff started saying something, but Kayla grabbed his arm. She knew it was over. But I didn't stop there. I handed the board a final piece, a notarized statement from the police confirming the vandalism report and the fact that neighbors had security camera footage being reviewed. Her face dropped. For once, she had nothing to say. After that meeting, everything changed. Not just with Kayla and Jeff, but in the whole neighborhood. The next day, someone left a copy of my folder, the one I brought to the HOA meeting, taped to their front door. Another neighbor told me they saw it happen and said Kayla ripped it down and threw it into the snow. She didn't post anything on Facebook after that. Not for a week. Which, if you knew her online habits, was basically a silent strike. But the silence didn't last long. That weekend, I got a message through the HOA portal. Not from her, from a guy named Chris who lived 2 blocks over. He said he'd loaned Jeff a power drill back in the fall and never saw it again. After the meeting, he dug through his messages and found the exact day it happened. Then came 2 more emails. Then 5. Within a week, I had over a dozen people, neighbors I barely knew, telling me similar stories. Same pattern. Casual borrowing, something wrong with it, then radio silence. And later, a listing that looked almost identical to their stuff. I compiled everything and sent it to the HOA board, with names redacted unless those people gave permission.
6 of them did.
One even found a sale record of her pressure washer on OfferUp, listed under a burner account tied back to Kayla's email. At this point, I wasn't even angry anymore. Just amazed. They'd been running this scam for months, maybe longer, and nobody said anything. Most people just assumed they lost their stuff or forgot who borrowed it. And now that the pattern was out in the open, it felt like something had been cracked. Kayla and Jeff didn't show up to the next HOA meeting. But their house was brought up again. This time not by me. A woman named Gina, who had loaned them a car jack, spoke. So did Rob, who said Jeff tried to sell him his own hedge clippers during a garage sale. The board said they were investigating patterns of misconduct. That's HOA speak for, "We're tired of this, but we don't want a lawsuit." Still, they sent them a formal letter. I heard they were warned. One more complaint, and they'd be facing formal sanctions, possibly eviction depending on their lease. But that's when things got worse for me. My mailbox was smashed. The flag was ripped off, the door bent backward. I found screws scattered in my driveway the next morning. Then someone dumped a gallon of paint on my front steps. White paint. Like snow, except it stained everything. Police came again. More photos, another report. But no witnesses. No camera caught it. And nobody admitted to seeing anything, though I knew damn well who did it. The thing is, I didn't respond. Not publicly. I cleaned it up, replaced the box, kept my mouth shut. Because I was building something bigger. One night, a few weeks after the paint incident, I saw Jeff outside. Alone, standing by his truck in the driveway, smoking a cigarette. He hadn't looked like that before, not tired like that. Just standing there, not even looking at his phone. I don't know what made me do it, but I walked over. He didn't move when he saw me. I stopped a few feet away. "You going to fix the mess, or just wait until everyone forgets?" He didn't answer right away. Then he exhaled smoke and said, "You don't get it, man. She's not gonna let it go." "Then why stay?" He laughed. Dry, bitter. "Because I've got nothing else. This house? Her parents' money. That truck? Not even in my name. I leave with nothing." I stood there, not knowing what to say. Because part of me wanted to say good. But another part, the one that's been alone, the one that knows what it's like to feel stuck, just nodded. "She's going to come at you again," he added. "You should know that." I walked away. After that, I kept to myself. I stopped updating the HOA. I stopped responding to the neighbors who messaged. I was tired. Every win felt smaller, every gotcha a little more hollow. But something strange happened. Without me saying anything, other people started stepping in. Gina called the city to report an unpermitted tool sale they'd set up in their driveway. Rob reported a noise complaint. Even the HOA, after finding out one of the burner accounts was used to sell a neighbor's missing camping gear, started the process to restrict their access to HOA social platforms. Kayla tried to fire back. She sent out a long post on a new neighborhood page she made, basically calling me a narcissist, saying I had a vendetta, saying she was the victim of a slander campaign. Only 3 people liked it. Then someone commented, "Didn't you say your husband fixed the Snowblower? It was brand new." She didn't reply. Then the real twist hit. A knock on my door. 2 police officers. They asked if I had security footage for the night of February 17th. That was the night my trash was dumped and the paint was poured. Apparently, someone finally came forward. Said they saw Kayla late at night, walking up my steps with a plastic jug. Didn't want to say anything at the time, they were afraid. But they had a change of heart. Police asked if I wanted to press charges. I told them I'd think about it. That night, I sat in my living room, the folder of evidence still on my coffee table, unopened for weeks now. I thought about the Snowblower. About how one dumb favor turned into this drawn-out, exhausting war. I didn't miss the Snowblower. I missed trusting people. I didn't press charges. Not because she didn't deserve it, but because I knew it wouldn't fix anything. The Snowblower's gone, the damage is done, and the truth's out, but somehow, I still check my locks twice at night. I still look out the window before I open the door. And the next time someone asks me for help, I'll probably lie and say I don't have what they need. Not because I want to, but because now I know what it costs.